What's up, everybody? My name is Brad, and today I've got another book review for you. This one's probably going to be short and sweet, but today I'm talking about scary stories to tell in the dark. And this is folklore and folk tales that have been collected and are being retold by Alvin Schwartz, and the artwork is by Stephen Gamel. I never read this as a kid. This was the first time I had ever read it. And I read it this month for the 5 Decades of Horror Challenge, which was created by John over at Written in Blood. And this was prompt number 2, which is Be Afraid, Be Very Afraid, which is to read a horror novel or book, novella, whatever it is, that was published in the 1980s. This was published in 1981. And my son got this in his Scholastic book order. And since I never read it as a kid, I wanted to go ahead and knock it out now and see if I liked it or not. For me, it was just okay. The stories really didn't do anything for me. I wasn't scared by them. Some of them were kind of creepy and kind of fun. But for me, it didn't really do too much. But in saying that, this book was not intended to be scary to a 30-something-year-old. This book is written for children. On the back, the reading level is 4.5. So I'm guessing, maybe 5, 6, 7-year-olds is who this is intended for. And so I'm going to base my rating upon that. I'm going to give it 3 stars for good because I do think younger children will enjoy this, will get creeped out by it, will get scared by it. I have a 4-year-old son. I did read him one of the stories in here. There's a few different sections. And then the stories in each section sort of go along with the theme. The first section is sort of jump scares, and then I don't remember the order, but there's ghost stories, sort of monster stories, gross out stories, and then the last one are sort of creepy stories, but they end up being funny at the end. I read him one of the jump scare stories, and basically all of those, you read along, and then at the end you basically scream out and try to scare whoever you're reading it to. He jumped and his eyes got big. You could tell he was listening intently. He was kind of listening to what I was saying. And then the jump scare, he did jump. And, he had a big smile on his face. He enjoyed it. So based off that, I am going to give this 3 stars. I do think younger kids will enjoy it. If you're a parent and you do have younger children, I do think it will be a lot of fun to read this with your kids. Or if they're old enough to read, maybe they can read it to you. Y'all can, sort of have bedtime stories together. That'd be a lot of fun. Like I said, I only read my son one of these. He's only 4. Maybe next year we'll do the whole book. Maybe a story a night or a few stories a night for bedtime. They are really short. Most of them are only a page. Maybe the longest one might be like 3 pages. They're all short, and they have artwork in them. The art's really cool, and the font's kind of big. So they're not too terribly long. I read the whole thing, maybe on and off. On reading time, it only took me 45 minutes, an hour maybe. I did want to read one. This was sort of my favorite one. I like this one a lot, and it's really short. It's sort of it says it's a song, but sort of like a poem. It's called the Hearse Song. Don't you ever laugh as the hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in a big white sheet from your head down to your feet. They put you in a big black box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. All goes well for about a week, then your coffin begins to leak. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The worms play pinnacle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose, they eat the jelly between your toes. A big green worm with rolling eyes crawls in your stomach and out your eyes. Your stomach turns a slimy green, and pus pours out like whipping cream. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you eat when you're dead. So I think that one's in the gross out section. That was, they're all sort of fun little stories like that. Like I said, I'm giving this 3 stars based on who the target audience is for this. It is for kids. I do think kids will enjoy it, be creeped out by it, get scared by it. And like I said, if you're a parent and you do have little kids, I do think it'll be a lot of fun to read this with your kid for bedtime, around Halloween or something like that would be a lot of fun. But that's all I really have to say about it. Like I said, this is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But I do want to know down in the comment section, being myself, I never read it as a kid, like I said, so I didn't have that nostalgia factor of rereading it as an adult. So I would like to know if you did read this as a kid and if you have reread it as an adult, did you have that sort of nostalgic feeling? Did you like it as much as you did when you were a kid? Maybe you like it more because you did read it when you were younger. And in my case, I didn't read it when I was younger, so I'm not as attached to it as somebody else might be. If any of that applies to you, I'd like to know your thoughts about it down in the comment section. Like I said, that's all I have to say about it. So thanks for spending your time with me today. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.